Springs Western Street Breakfast is now underway, and as we've been saying, this spurs the start of the Pikes Peak or Bust Rodeo season. So let's check back in with Bree Groves this morning. She's got a look at the rich history behind this iconic event. Bree?
Well, yeah, and you can hear it getting underway right now, Brett. It is loud out here. This is a morning just packed with community celebration, but it's also the iconic starting point to the Range Riders 5-day trek. And this is a tradition that keeps our Western heritage that Colorado Springs was founded on alive.
The whole idea is to get people to come downtown, experience kind of the cowboy way, the Western way of life, and kick off the Range Riders.
The group started in 1949 with 35 men who would ride horseback around America's mountain to promote the Pikes Peak or Bust Rodeo. And a year after their inaugural journey, the Range Riders dubbed the Western Street Breakfast the starting point for their legendary ride.
Labor of love for me to do the street breakfast and to be a Range Rider too, but to be able to bring everybody together and show them what we get to do.
Everybody, from doctors and lawyers to ranchers and businessmen. Brett has been part of the street breakfast since 1984, a Range Rider for decades, and even the pack of horsemen he rides alongside hail from all walks of life.
People don't realize that we were a Western town, and it's just expanded.
For 200 years, Pikes Peak has been a symbol of America's Western frontier.
They were really focused on bringing tourism to the region to help stimulate the economy.
And it was Spencer Penrose, an avid sportsman, entrepreneur, and philanthropist who started the Pikes Peak or Bust Rodeo in 1937.
Its first 2 years, it took place at the Cheyenne Mountain Country Club polo fields. And in those early days, it could only seat 500 spectators. There was no shade. So he quickly realized he needed to build a new stadium.
And the rodeo was quickly moved to a 10,000-seat arena known as the Will Rogers Stadium until the death of Spencer Penrose, when it was named after him. And now, growing even further, it takes place at the Norris Penrose Event Center, still keeping that legacy alive of what he started.
And this is a big deal. People are coming from all over the world to ride in this rodeo. The money that's raised at the street breakfast and at the rodeo goes back to military charities here in the El Paso County area.
Well, thank you, Bree. We'll check back in with you in a bit. Now, the rodeo here dates back to 1933. In 1936, a historical Western Street Breakfast began when 35 people gathered around an old chuck wagon for breakfast. After World War II, the breakfast was brought into the rodeo to make the event even bigger. And in the 90s, just $1 would cover your breakfast. Today, the cost is $5, and money from that breakfast and rodeo goes right back to our local military and their families, with more than 11,000 people expected to attend this year. That's a lot of money going right back into our local community.